I am standing at 3621 Sherbrooke's backyard, and I wanted to share a rather important landmark. This is an old railroad trestle, so it's called Rails to Trails around here was the initiative. And the backyard of this house is one of our boundaries for the really expensive side of 43613 zip code and the affordable side, investment grade side of 43613. All the houses that come up against this become progressively more expensive. So we are in the backyard of 3621 Sherbrooke, a quality 3-bedroom house. It's gonna require some work because, of course, anytime we find a deal in a neighborhood that is superb, we're going to have some work ahead of us. But I wanted to start with truly the great attraction to this property, and that is that you open up your rear gate and you can bicycle to University of Toledo, or you can keep going north. I'm not sure what's up there that's notable, but this does University of Toledo. It goes by Toledo Hospital. Just truly is a great little recreation spot that you'll have direct access to. Swing set, I would presume, because you can see it's kind of rickety, that goes downhill. I think that's coming out. I don't think that's a liability we want to embrace. We've got a little bit of fence to repair over here, but you see the vertical standing, and then that vertical's broken, so nothing crazy. And that this is the better shed, so you have a pretty good grade lawn mowing shed, and then you have the original garage. That's Dominic, works with us, does all of our renovation estimates. So this is the original garage. I'll walk us in there in just a second. So you have some gutter work to be done. I mean, there's only one drop. We need to put a second drop, probably re-slope, definitely put some gutter guard in. That's all minimal. Let's head into, here we go. We can look at the front of this garage, and then we'll head into that garage. But you can see peeling paint. That really is the only negative with this property. I am a big vinyl siding guy, like just, you know, kind of bang it out. It's one and done. I would probably get rid of some of these little windows. They're not necessary. You move in here, you do have some painted wood. I would envision just kind of closing this off. This is all like aluminum storm window. They're in okay condition. Your back wall just needs to be closed off. And oh, that's closed. I've been in it already. If my phone will focus outside of there we go. So the garage is fine, right? There's a garage door opener. It is really good size, but no peeling paint inside the garage. Looks pretty typical. We could upgrade the garage door in the future if we wished. But again, you have that original, there's no paint on the ceiling, but you have the original siding here. So when we do the garage, we would want to do this as well. Just get it enclosed and sealed. On the front of 3621 Sherbrooke, you are in the nicer end of 43613. I was just in the backyard showing the Rails to Trails. Really an attraction. I have not owned a property that has been on the the rail system, or the trail system here. So this really nice house, and as we walk around it, you will just see that we have shake siding. This would be like a pretty straightforward scrape and paint. It's not decayed. Like, there's no rot there. This is just peeling paint. You can see it's kind of underneath there. It's just normal wood, but it's ready for loving. There's another spot, above that door. And then as we move to the back side of the property, because that's where our weather's coming in, is from the west side, you can see this one's pretty struck. Just a lot to do there. We have an old R22 refrigeration system. I presume it's not going to work. I would recommend removing it, and then we state there is no AC. The alternative would be we try to service it, get it running, and then my advice is we let the resident know that we're not guaranteeing air conditioning. If this fails and needs full upgrade, we're not contractually obligated to provide it. But this property would support the investment. There's just our siding exterior, and we'll head on the inside. Kind of another interesting one. Again, I think this is going to get to go. You can see the proximity of the house. I would just rather not encourage residents to want to catch things on fire, especially when we provide it and locate it, so that if there's something that catches the house on fire, the statement is, well, the landlord put it there. So then I was incentivized or encouraged to use it, so it's their shared liability with the resident. This would be another one, just like the swing set in the back, that is going to depart when we take the property over. Walking in the front door of 3621 Sherbrooke, this is your coat closet. It's been set up with some shelves. No problems there. And as we walk into, you have the living room over here, and the paint colors are definitely unique. But you move in from living room to dining nook on the edge here. You move into the main kitchen. Cabinets are lovely. They're just kind of a basic special order Home Depot style. I would point out, as we go through the property, you're going to see some questionable drywall patching. I suspect the homeowner is what I'm suspecting lived here, that the homeowner did not understand how to do a proper repair. This would be leaving, just like the fire pit, just like the swing set. You do not want an ice maker, you do not want a drink dispenser, and you do not want stainless steel. Why? Because you are going to have a resident who insists on another LG refrigerator. I rented this property because I loved the refrigerator, and now that the refrigerator is broken, I want another $1,400 refrigerator brought in, or I am going to state that you have breached the lease. We like basic black and white refrigerators. There's no ice maker, there is no water dispenser, there's no ice maker line, right, that goes behind it that can become disconnected and flood the house. They're just much simpler. It's a basic rental grade product. My statement on the record is, if you don't like the refrigerator we provide, we can remove the refrigerator, or you can always go buy a house. Basic white stove. Just of note, when the burners burn out, like if we rent Section 8, all the burners must work. They're not repairable. So if that ceramic breaks or if a burner goes out, we would have to replace the stove. Just kind of an annoyance. And with that, we will head downstairs. Headed down to the basement. Now, the basement floor has been wet. Yeah, here you can see it right there. You see how it's kind of bulged and puffed up in the light, and then you can see it has not been, placed in other rooms. This would fall onto the mantra of why we do not finish basements in Toledo. You have some moisture kind of coming in there. And by the way, I would give this basement an 8 out of 10. So this is a very good basement for the city of Toledo. However, you just have some basic moisture that's going on. I haven't found a dehumidifier in here yet, but we're not trying to incentivize people to try to live in the basement. So here's 100 amp breaker, standard, looks older, but perfectly up to code. If we were to rent Section 8, all the Romex plastic wire has to be sleeved in flex cable, so it would look just like the other ones on the top. Not a big deal, a little bit of basement block damage. And let's go through. So you have washer, dryer. Again, they can be left in place, and we just make an explicit statement to the resident that if they don't work, we don't want to know about it. The resident would be required to keep the washer and dryer on the premises, but they could swap them out. We're not in the business of repairing washer, dryer. I make the same advice on dishwasher. This is pretty much a no frills bathroom down the basement. Again, not a big deal, but it is going to encourage someone to try to live in that room. Moving into a water heater. 2002 manufacture date. So the water heater is at the end of its useful life. That's what a home inspector is going to tell you, and we may get another 10 years out of it. So we would not just proactively replace the water heater, but at least we know that it is not, a brand spanking new setup. Moving us into here, we have a carrier furnace. Let's see here, R22 2006, and that would be the AC. So I suspect that the water heater and the furnace were all put around in the same time, that 2002, 2006 time range. Again, there's heat on in the house. I have no reason to believe we have a problem with this furnace. Everyone, if you watch my videos, knows that when you vent through metal, that means you have an 80% efficient furnace rather than a 90 plus, which is vented through PVC. Really, that means, and this is the gold standard for Toledo, is 80%. So I like them just fine. They produce quality heat. They're reliable. They also have a lot fewer sensors to trip out and require service than the high efficiency version. And that is the basement. I suspect this floor is going to be going. There's enough like humps in the floor. Here's another one of those water damage spots. If you look right in here in the shadow, right there, you can see it. So there's been moisture under this floor, and you can feel it while you walk across. It's a little spongy, and then you can see here it's also delaminated, kind of popped up. So this is not a waterproof product, and I would not put another one down. We would want to glance under it and just see kind of what's going on with the floor, but I expect it's going to look like the other areas. It's either some kind of an epoxy or this is the glue for VCT tile, vinyl composite tile. But I would leave the floor just like that with the black is perfectly acceptable. But we're going to have problems with the, just the humps that are in this floor and the water damage, and then you can have an argument of mold. So we would want to avoid all three of those proactively. Well, going from that dining room, which is the Pepto-Bismol pink, you run upstairs. The door is sitting in the adjacent room, but you can kind of see a functionally annoying thing. When your kid comes out of the upstairs bedroom, they're going to kind of swing in your way, and you'll want to know when your kid's coming down. We move into bathroom. Bathroom, again, features some of that drywall put on by the homeowner. You've got some piled up silicone at the bottom of the wall. That's ugly. It's not unsafe. It works. Here's more of their drywall patching. Again, I don't think I would mess around with it. We're gonna have to figure out, I think those are pendant lights. I'm just missing the electric if they were pendant lights. So I don't know what was up there. But if we fished around, we might find the electric wires. But ultimately that works just lovely. No problems there. And we'll move into rear bedroom. We call this bedroom 2. Bedroom 2's totally normal little closet on the back side. That's the door that goes to the stairwell. We come into bedroom 1 here. Bedroom 1, again, is in fine condition. You've got the standard patina that comes with hardwood floors that are pushing 100 years old, but they're very durable. They're in fine condition. No work really planned on the floors. And then I would note our windows. We have, I'm gonna call it, year 2000 white vinyl windows. They are the best bang for your buck. White vinyl window there and a privacy. White vinyl windows here. Moving back into the living room, white vinyl windows. So really an excellent location. And then the house needs some basic loving internally. That's not where you're gonna spend your money. It's gonna be on the outside. But once you are done, you have a property that will absolutely be a refinanceable cash out refi very easily. Enjoy.